Here's what nobody tells you about having an ADHD brain. It's like trying to conduct an orchestra where every musician is playing a different song at full volume. I'll sit down to do something simple, like plan my next video, and suddenly I'm checking my emails, reorganizing my entire workspace, and questioning whether I'm even good enough to be making YouTube videos in the first place. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. That constant mental noise, the way your brain ping-pongs between thoughts like it's training for the Olympics. But here's what changed everything for me. I discovered that ChatGPT could become the second brain my mind desperately needed. And I'm not talking about just asking it random questions like, why do we get brain freeze from ice cream but not from iced coffee? If you know the answer, leave a comment. But what I'm talking about is strategically using it every day as a focus partner that actually works with your neurodivergent brain instead of against it. Today I'm breaking down exactly how I transformed ChatGPT into my ADHD productivity system, the specific strategies, prompts and mindset shifts that took me from complete chaos to flawless focus. Alright, let me take you back to a random Monday evening that perfectly captured my life before ChatGPT. It was another busy day. I was up at 5, went to the gym, watched some anime, drove my very energetic toddler to childcare, finished work, cooked dinner and got Charlie settled for sleep. Charlie's my son, by the way, not just some random guy I helped fall asleep. Now, I had one task left on my to-do list, come up with ideas for my next YouTube video. That sounds pretty straightforward, right? And bear in mind, I had a good hour or so to get this done before I needed to get my 8 hours of sleep. Oh, and before we dive deeper into this, I've actually created a free Notion template with 10 ADHD friendly AI prompts that help you tackle these kinds of situations. Just click the link down in the description and you can start using it while we go through this together. Anyway, instead of brainstorming like most people would, I ended up in a deep dive about specific SEO processes to maximize my YouTube views. It was super helpful and I did learn a lot, but I didn't do the one thing I intentionally set out to do. And what makes this worse is that all of that newfound knowledge overwhelmed me and put me in what I call analysis paralysis mode, which meant I couldn't come up with a single idea for my next video, and this happens to me all the time. There's actually a term for it called executive dysfunction. It's not a lack of effort or motivation, it's a breakdown in the brain's ability to manage, prioritize and execute tasks even if you have clear objectives and plenty of time. And there's actually science behind this. ADHD brains have reduced efficiency in the prefrontal cortex during working memory tasks. Basically, the part of your brain responsible for planning, prioritizing and task initiation is running on dial-up while the world expects high-speed internet. But here's where things get even more interesting. I actually didn't start using ChatGPT properly until last year. I remember seeing a few different articles talking about this new website which had reached 1 million users within the first week. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that's actually really impressive. But did I start using it myself? No, not yet anyway. Just like with most things we hear about, I thought, it'll be popular for a few weeks, the hype will probably die down and then people will just move on to something else. I could not have been more wrong. By January 2023, ChatGPT had surpassed 100 million monthly users, which made it the fastest growing application in history at the time. That is insane. It was all over the news. You couldn't check your phone or the internet without seeing something about ChatGPT. So did I start using it then? No. Why? Because I was 8 weeks away from becoming a dad and I had never been more anxious or stressed out in my life. So after 6 weeks of not sleeping, endless nappy changes and 12 months of parenting, I finally tried out ChatGPT in January 2024. It took me 2 years to start using it. At first, I started using it to answer random questions every few days. Then I began having entire conversations with ChatGPT where I'd think out loud, type it all out, and it would help me organize those thoughts into something actionable. At this point, I'd been using ChatGPT for a few months, but then one day I completely changed the way I thought about interacting with AI tools. It was March 24, Charlie had just turned 1, and even though I should have been happy, I felt completely anxious and overwhelmed. After 12 months of creating wonderful memories with my son, there was one undeniable fact that I was struggling to face. I don't have enough time to keep up a good gym routine, I don't have enough time to create content, but most importantly, I don't have enough time to spend with my son. So I opened up ChatGPT and I typed out everything. My schedule, my goals, my worries, and this feeling that I just couldn't shake. Like I was putting in 110% effort, but still falling behind. And then I did something I hadn't done before. I asked ChatGPT for help, not just answering a random question, but with my actual life. I told it I'm trying to be a good dad, a good partner, a full-time employee, a content creator, a person who still works out, eats right, reads books, meditates, journals, stays focused, and I just feel like I'm drowning, to be honest. And ChatGPT didn't just give me generic advice. It gave me a structure, a way to zoom out and actually see my time, my energy, and my priorities. That moment, that one conversation completely changed how I interact with ChatGPT, because for the first time I wasn't just using AI to do more, I was using it to feel less overwhelmed and to take back control. According to research, ADHD brains need something called cognitive scaffolding. We basically need external structure to support our internal executive function, and ChatGPT had just become that structure for me. I started experimenting with it. I thought, what if I could use this AI tool not only to help me simplify my life, but to also help me with my ADHD. Task prioritization, breaking down overwhelming projects, managing scattered thoughts, even processing the emotional overwhelm that comes with OCD and perfectionism. The more I used it, the more I realized this wasn't just another productivity tool. Let me break down the exact system I've developed for using ChatGPT as my ADHD focus partner. The first strategy is what I call the mental download session. I'll open ChatGPT and I'll say something like, I'm feeling anxious and overwhelmed. Here's everything that's swirling around in my head right now. Then I just list out every task, every worry, every random thought taking up mental space. Then I ask, can you help me organize this into 3 categories: urgent, important, and can wait until later. This one simple prompt is so helpful for me. It takes all of that mental chaos and transforms it into a clear, manageable system that I can actually work on. My second strategy I call task translation. This is where it gets really powerful. So I use ChatGPT for what I call task translation, converting overwhelming projects into smaller steps. Instead of creating a content strategy, I'll be more specific and ask it to break down creating a content strategy into the smallest possible steps that I can actually take action on. All of a sudden, those overwhelming projects become a lot less intimidating. My third strategy is called emotional processing. ADHD can also cause intense emotional overwhelm. Sometimes I need to process those feelings before I can focus on anything else. So I'll say something like, I'm feeling anxious about this upcoming event and my brain is spiraling. Can you help me understand why? Break down what I'm actually worried about and create a realistic plan of action. This is super helpful for me because I'm quite introverted and I do tend to get a lot of social anxiety. Okay, so let me share some specific prompts that have been really useful in my day-to-day life. For morning overwhelm, I have ADHD and I'm feeling scattered about my day. Here are all the things I need to do. Can you help me create a realistic schedule that balances my need for breaks and rest? For creative blocks, I'm procrastinating on this task because I want it to be perfect. What's the smallest first step that I can take right now? For emotional regulation, I'm having an ADHD overwhelm moment. Can you help me organize my thoughts and feelings, then explain to me why I'm feeling overwhelmed and what I can do to stop it? These prompts work because they're designed for how neurodivergent brains actually function. They don't fight against ADHD, they work with it. And if you find these prompts helpful at all, I've actually created a free email newsletter which includes more helpful prompts, real struggles that I've overcome, and helpful tips to simplify your life with AI. Links down in the description if you want to sign up, but no pressure. Now, let me just make this clear. This isn't about using AI to fix your ADHD. ChatGPT is just a tool that helps you work with your brain's natural patterns instead of against them. But to get the most out of it, you need to be completely honest with it about your struggles. Tell it about your ADHD, your specific challenges, your energy levels, and anything else you feel is important. The more context you give it about how your brain works, the more helpful it becomes. Alright, so here's what my life looks like now, about a year and a half after using ChatGPT consistently. I actually complete projects, not perfectly, but consistently. My brain feels a lot lighter. I feel like I have a lot more mental capacity. I'm less anxious about starting things because I know I can always ask for help. I'm using AI tools that support how my brain actually functions. Does this mean every day is perfect and that I don't struggle anymore? No. Definitely not. I still have challenging days, I still get overwhelmed, I still hyper focus on the wrong things, but now I have a system I can actually rely on, a system that helps me process my thoughts without drowning in them. If you're struggling with ADHD or your brain constantly feels scattered or overwhelmed, you're not alone. Your brain just needs different tools, and ChatGPT might be one of those tools for you. If you found this video helpful, you might like to check out this one here, which is my complete beginner's guide to using ChatGPT.